hopefully y'all can hear me. I guess I'm gonna have to run uh my phone and the laptop because I'm having some sound issues. I guess I'm having some sound issues. Can you hear me now? I don't know if the sound behind or not. Cool. The water to the sis, man, helping me out because I don't know what's going on with my sound, man. But I want to say, man, shalom, giving all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High God. Uh, just want to come on here real quick and do a exhortation on the law of the Most High shows imperfections, right? And I know there's been a lot of conversation about, oh, should we keep the law? This, that, and the third. We can't keep the law because the law is imperfect, and through Jesus Christ we're perfect. But we have to get a better understanding what it means, for something to point out our imperfections, right? Because I know that when I played ball, man, when I played football, we used to do this thing called watch film. If you ever played sports that required you to watch film, it doesn't matter what sport you played. If you had a coach who cared about you being a better athlete, one of the things that you probably was going to do was watch film. And that's one of the things that we did is we watched film. So basically, I was having a conversation with this sister on Twitter, and she was pretty much like, well, we it's pointless to keep the law. It's stupid. The law is the knowledge of sin, and we can't keep the law because it points out our imperfections, and we're supposed to be perfect. And I was just like, that's a bad way of looking at it, and I'm gonna show you why, right? So let me share my screen real quick. Let me share my screen real quick. Present, share screen, uh, window. Microsoft Edge tab. Yeah, that's what I want to do. So let me share this real quick. Let me go down. Let me go to the book of Romans, chapter 7. And I'm going to, Salakia, 7. I'm going to start at verse number 12, man. Romans 7 and 12, right? It says, wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just and good, right? So the law is holy, the commandment holy, and just and good, right? So how do we get this ideology that when we're talking about keeping the law of the Most High God, that is something that we shouldn't be doing? If even Paul, who a lot of our brothers and sisters subscribe to say that we can't keep the law, even Paul said the law is holy and the commandment holy and just, and the last thing it said is good. A lot of people like to allude it to bad, but how? Right? So let's start. Let's go back up a little bit because I know we always coming out of Romans because, like we say, we have a gripe with people who say we're Pharisees or say we're hypocrites or say that we teach a doctrine of devils when ultimately all we want to do is teach our people to keep the law, right? Shout out to Deacon Hakasakari, man. All I want to do is teach my people to keep the law, right? That's all we want our people to do is turn back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, right? Because we've tried everything under the sun. We've tried marching, praying, protesting, singing, and dancing. We've tried doing all these different things to help us be delivered from all type of affliction, all type of oppression, but nothing has worked. The only thing that we will be on one accord about, and it actually benefits us, is doing the laws, right? But going up to Romans 7:7, it says right here, Shalom to the brother Donald.
Shalom, man. I came on, the brother was singing, man. Man was giving praise and worship.
Nah, not yet. Not yet. So like it, man, I'm a little hoarse, man, but I'm in Romans 7:7 right now, right? And it says, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? So a lot of people like to equate the laws of God to being sin, right? Because remember, like I said, I was having a conversation with a sister, and this was a conversation maybe about a month ago, but I just thought about, that whole conversation today. And one of the things that she kept repeating was that the laws of God are bad for us because they point out our imperfections, right? So this is what Paul says. He said, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law, for I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. So unless the laws of God told you that you were doing something wrong, you wouldn't have known what wrong is. And that's the thing, because without anything to tell you right from wrong, there would be no true sense of morality, because nothing in this world would be considered right or wrong, because we would have no governing body to determine what is or what's not, right? And the Father gave us a set of laws to be able to determine what's right and what's wrong, right? Like Paul said, I didn't know I was lusting until the law said, thou shalt not covet. The same thing that you wouldn't know stealing is wrong unless the law had said, thou shalt not steal. Now, in the world we live in today, people are trying to change the laws to mean something that they don't mean at all. Like, how do you have whatchamacallit, with the whole Pride Month thing, the whole more than two genders thing, the homosexuality thing? They're changing it to LGBTQ, right? And sooner or later, I'm telling you, they're going to add another letter to that, and that letter going to start with a P, and it's going to represent pedophilia. Because how can you tell? It's okay to say that a man has felt like a woman his whole life. A man has just felt like a woman. He just, everything about him was just feminine. So he ended up changing his body to be of a woman, right? But when it comes to the case of a man, a grown man, a 40-year-old man sitting up here looking at a 12-year-old girl, we want to put him to death. We want to kill him. And I'm by no means justifying pedophilia. I stand against it wholeheartedly. But I'm saying the psychological mind behind these ideas are going to coincide at some point. They're going to have to submit to that, or there's going to be a war with everybody, because it doesn't make sense. Because it's not wrong for a man to change himself into a woman, yet it's wrong for a man to have a mental illness and think that he's 12 years old, and he's been 12 years old his whole life. Regardless of how old he looks, he feels like in his head he's 12 years old. So how can we say that he's wrong for feeling that way, if yet we say, oh, a woman can feel like a man? Now, a woman can feel like a man, take testosterone, grow a beard, cut her breast off, do all these things to have these, surgeries to change themselves, right? The same thing with men. Men can say they feel like women, so they start taking estrogen pills. They get surgeries to grow breasts. They get their penis cut off. They turn it into, a replica of a, vagina. Salakia for the vulgar language, but they do these things and they try to justify it. And I'm saying all that to say that that's going to show you that the moral compass in this society is not where it should be, because we're having people define what morality is instead of letting the laws of God define what morality is, like this country was built upon. This country says one nation under God in the Pledge of Allegiance. So how can we be one nation under God in the Pledge of Allegiance? Now, when it's time to come and understand the sense of morality that God gave, we think it's bad. We don't want to follow it. It's all a doctrine of the Nicolaitans, right? It's that replacement theology, like saying that, oh, well, the Old Testament, we had the law, but now New Testament, we got Christ, we got the Spirit, right? But let's go down a few verses in Romans 7. Because we said we got the Spirit now. The law was flesh. So we got the Spirit. The law is bad because it showed us what was wrong. And we ain't supposed to know what's wrong when we're under Christ. When we're under the Spirit, we don't know what's wrong. Well, let's read this. Romans 7:14. It says, for we know, Salakia, it says, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. So let's read verse 15. I'm going to read verse 15 first before I expound. It says, for that which I do allow, Salakia, let me read again. For that which I do, I allow not. For what I would, that do I not. But what I hate, that I do. So this is Paul pretty much saying, hey, look, there's evil that I do, and I really don't allow it. But the good that I would do, I don't do it. The law is spiritual. Going back to verse 14, the law is spiritual. So how is it that we're under the Spirit, and all of a sudden now when it comes to understanding the law, we just equate it with flesh? If Paul himself right here says the law is spiritual, we have to make sense of these things. What does it mean for the law to point out your imperfections, right? Again, let's go back to the beginning. Anytime you're an athlete, if you've been an athlete at anything, whether not even if you didn't watch film, you rehearsed. People pointed out to you things that you could be doing better. I remember playing football in high school, and throughout the game, my friend's dad would be texting me saying, "You firing off the ball too high. Shoot your hands. Move, drive your feet. That's a good block right there. Keep hustling. Block to the whistle blow." He used to text me these things throughout the game. As the game is going on, he knew for a fact I wouldn't see it until after the game. But yet he's still letting me know, hey, these are things that you could do better. This is what you're doing good. This is where you could be better at. That's exactly what the law of the Most High God is for, right? Going back up to Romans 7:7, it says, what shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. For I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. So Christianity, church, all that teaches us that we don't have to keep the laws no more because we got sweet Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? All we gotta do is believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and hey, everything else is okay. But that's not the truth. We have to keep the law of the Most High God. And yes, it's supposed to point out your imperfections, because how can you get better if you don't watch film? How can you get better if you don't work on your craft? I used to play, like I said, I used to play football. My college career didn't go as I wanted it to, but that's because there was a lot of things that I realized that I needed to do better, but yet I really didn't truly, earnestly give myself over to making myself better at those things. And that's what happens when you don't study, right? Let me go to a different precept real quick. Let me go to a different place real quick. It's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2. Let me go to verse 15, right? 2 Timothy 2:15. It says, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. You have to study to show yourself approved. You have to study film to show, okay, this is where I did wrong at. Oh, I missed that block right there because instead of stepping this way, I stepped that way. I missed the tackle because instead of breaking down like coach taught me, I tried to do my own thing, and all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, I got broke. Like that's exactly what the law is for. That's literally our film session. That's where we're supposed to go back, evaluate, and say, hey, the Most High God said we can do this, 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 but he says we cannot do this, this, this. So if I'm following the law of God, I'm looking at the law and I'm saying, okay, I can't do this because the Most High said it is an abomination. I can't do this because the Most High said, hey, look, we should be holy. There's things that the Most High God specifically said that we cannot do. And people try to make that a bad thing. Like it's such a bad thing to have a set of guidelines to live by. One of the main things people like to say is, there's over 600 laws, you can't keep all of them. That's so idiotic to me. And I'm going to tell you why that's idiotic. It's idiotic because regardless of how many laws there is, there are a lot more laws according to the world that we live in. And they've been amended and ratified hundreds of times. Yet nobody has a problem when they see a police officer making sure they seatbelt on. Nobody has a problem when they see a police officer in a car taking their phone out their hand. It's illegal to have your phone in your hand when you drive. It's literally illegal to leave trash on the street. I used to think it was illegal to drive with the lights inside of your car on. Now uh I'm not necessarily versed in, you know what I'm saying, the laws of America as I would like to be, not because I want to know the laws of America to be, you know, but I want to know exactly what I want to use it as a tool to teach people that if you can do the laws of this land, you can do the laws that's in the Bible, because it may be 600 plus laws in the Bible. All of them don't apply to everybody. There's law for priests, there's law for men, there's law for women, there's laws for everybody, right? But Leviticus 12 is talking about a woman after childbirth. I don't have to keep that law. Not saying that I shouldn't tell my wife not to keep it. My wife keeps that law. But as a man, how am I supposed to keep a law of giving birth into a child when the Most High didn't create me a woman to do that? So people have this false ideology that the laws of God is just such a bad thing for us, when let's go back to Romans 7 and 12 real quick. Let's go back to Romans 7 and 12 real quick. It says, wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good. We've literally been in Romans 7 and 2 Timothy. And by now you have to understand the analogies that we're getting at. The laws of God are meant to help us to obtain that righteousness. That's what the law of God is meant to. It's meant to help us cleanse ourselves, right? Let me go to the comment section real quick. Khan, the sister said, we follow the white man's law every day unknowingly. Khan, we follow the laws of our land so much every day we don't even know it. We literally obey the law every time you pick up your phone. When we do videos like this, we have to put in our videos, we do not own the rights to the content that's displayed and stuff like that. Why? Because it's against the law to copyright someone's content. You can go to jail for copyright infringement. You can go to jail for pirating. You can literally go to jail or get your page suspended or banned for not simply just saying a few words, I don't own this.
Hey, one of the hardest things to do, right? One of the hardest things to do in America is to go anywhere in your car while driving and be hands-free. I don't care what nobody say, right? You can preach to the sun come up. Don't text and drive. You know what I'm saying? Don't get on your phone and drive. But that's one of the hardest things to do, is to drive hands-free for the whole trip, right? Not use your Google Maps, not use your Apple Maps. Don't get on the aux cord or the Bluetooth, right? Don't check no text messages, no emails. It's the hardest thing to do, but we still do it. We still preach it, right? And why do we do it? Why is that law in place? That law is in place for our good, because statistics have shown you have a better chance of not getting to a wreck when you drive hands free. That law is hard to do, but we still practice at it every single day, right? Even if we don't do it, we're still kind of conscious of, I need to get off my phone right now, right? It's in the back of our brain, because that law is for our good, just like the laws of God are for our good. Just because they might be difficult to do at times, sometimes, and I don't really believe they're that hard, right? They're not as hard as driving hands free, I'll tell you that, right? But just because they're hard to do at sometimes, right, doesn't mean they're not for our good. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't be practicing them. Just like we practice trying to drive without hands free. Pecan.
Hey, you know what's funny? Because just the brother said exactly what I want to say, man. Driving without your phone in your hand is literally the hardest, especially when you're playing music. If you're somebody who likes to ride with music on, I highly doubt that you're telling me that you just let your playlist rotate.
Shuffle.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know I pick up my phone, I say skip, or I look up a song to play. You know what I'm saying? While I'm driving. You know, it is one of them things like, look, the police may not see you do it, but there's a difference between breaking the law in America versus breaking the laws of the Most High. The Most High sees all, right? Let me go to
Hey, girls always be honest too, man. Our wives, our girlfriends, right? Our female friends, our mothers, they be honest about not texting and driving, not
right.
doing all that. But let them be driving and they mom call. Oh, they picking up that phone now.
Man,
They picking up that phone. 4 hour conversations coming on demand, right? If we gonna be hands free, it's hands free the whole time now, right? And these things are for our good. We understand that, and we just kind of making light of the situation, man. But it's the same thing with the Most High God, man. These laws are for our good. We need to be practicing them, just like we're trying to practice as hard as we can to drive hands free.
con. Hey, look at this real quick. This is Sirach 23 and 19. It says, such a man only feareth. Matter of fact, let me start up real quick. Let's get the context of this, right? This is what it says. Let's start at verse number 17. It says, all bread is sweet to a whoremonger. He will not leave off till he die. Verse 18. Oh, Salakia, dang. Let me go back to verse 18. Verse 18. It says, a man that breaketh wedlock, saying, wow. It says, a man that breaketh wedlock, saying, thus in his heart, who seeth me? So in his heart, he said, who sees me? I'm breaking wedlock right now. Who sees me? I am compassed about with darkness. The walls cover me, and nobody seeth me. What need I to fear? The Most High will not remember my sins. He's saying this because nobody is laying their eyes on him while he's breaking wedlock, right? Well, let's read verse 19. It says, such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of the Lord are 10,000 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men, and considering the most secret parts. You can't get around the eyes of the Most High, man. The same way you feel like you're getting away with the laws in America just because you ain't wearing your seatbelt and 12 can't see you, doesn't mean that you're getting away from the Father like that, right? And that's what happens when we have a society that teaches lawlessness, right? The society we live in teaches you to be lawless and carefree, sexually liberated, right? We live in a society where all of this manner of wickedness is promoted, and it doesn't matter because, hey, look, you live your life, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna, hey, look, how you live your life is on you. We don't want accountability no more, right? So, Khan, I'm gonna get to the precepts in the comment section in a second. We don't want to have accountability no more, right? Let me go to Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1, right? Matter of fact, let me go to Ezekiel real quick. Nobody wants accountability because accountability is the Most High telling us to do something and we do it, right? But guess what? No, Salakia. I went to the wrong chapter. Salakia. All right, let me read this. Let's read this. This is Ezekiel chapter 33, and I'm going to read verse number 2. And it says, son of man, speak to the children of thy people and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coats and set him for their watchman, right? If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people, then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. So this is pretty much saying if somebody tells you, you finna get hit by a car, get out the way, and you stand in the way, and you not taking heed to what he's saying, and you get hit by the car, when you die, that blood is on your own hands because the watchman blew the trumpet for you. He said, you finna get hit by a car, get out the way. Now let's read verse number 5. Verse number 5. He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him. But he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. So if you take heed to the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, we're saying homosexuality is a sin. Stop committing sin. If you take heed to that warning, you will deliver your soul. But if you don't, and you listen to everybody, oh, love is love, and we don't got to keep the law, and law is none away, and we got Jesus Christ. Well, you're going to be like the person in verse 4. Your blood going to be on your own hands because our job is to tell you what's right and what's wrong. That's the problem with society, is because a lot of people are not trying to be men and women of the Lord and righteously check you. They say, oh, you can't judge me. I'm not looking at everybody that walks up and down the street and saying, sinner, 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 sinner. That's not righteous judgment. I can't bear false witness on nobody because I don't know nobody from a can of paint. It's only after I have conversation with people, then that's when brothers like myself and like Brother Denal begin to say, hey, you can't do that. And this is why you can't do that, because you believe in the Most High God and you believe that you want eternal life. In order to obtain that eternal life through Jesus Christ, like you believe in, Jesus Christ said we got to keep the law according to Matthew 19 and 16 and 17. But if you're not taking heed to that warning, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to die. Let's read verse 6. It says, but if the watchmen see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at the watchman's hand. So pretty much, we have a job and a duty to warn the people. We don't just do this out of pleasure of rebuking people and confounding people. We do this because that's our duty as watchmen of the Lord. There's a whole camp called Watchmen for Israel. And one thing Brother Naquam always say is that everybody is a watchman for Israel. That's not just a camp that you join and now all of a sudden you're a watchman for Israel. It's just like the hopeful elect. You're not the hopeful elect just because you wear a shirt that says the hopeful elect on it. Everybody's the hopeful elect. Everybody's watchmen for Israel. You have to be these type of people in order to obtain the kingdom, right? But you're not going to attain the kingdom by not having something to point out your imperfections. Because if nothing tells you that you're wrong, this whoever put you in this position, then maybe they're wrong. And the Most High God is not the author of confusion. He's not going to put you down here just for no purpose at all, right? That's Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Brother, got a point you want to add real quick? Matter of fact, I'm not going to ask. Brother, I'm going to ask for a second. If you can improv, I got to go off camera for a brief second. I'll be right back.
Kind, man. While the brother steps out real quick, I'm gonna go over some of these comments in the chat. Right, this is the first one. I'm gonna go in order. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 5 and 20. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Man, I gotta be quick on the sword, man. Isaiah chapter 5 and verse number 20. And it reads, woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Hey, that's mighty precept. You know what I'm saying? Mighty precept. I actually, need to bookmark that one for sure. I was thinking about it the other day, man, but it goes perfectly with this lesson, perfect what the brother was talking about at the beginning of the lesson, right? When he was talking about the LGBTQ community and how, this whole world is being turned upside down. I was talking with the brother Azrael the other day, and we was just saying, man, even in the truth, man, it's getting to a point where, it's getting to a point where everybody's just doing what they see fit in their own eyes, right? Everybody is seeing there's no king in Israel right now, so everybody's just doing what's right in their own eyes, right? You got brothers out here smoking tobacco. You got brothers out here, getting into folly. You got men and women messing with significant others they shouldn't be messing with, right? Out here eating shrimp, pork, and crab and lobster. We got brothers, man. Hey, look, man, you gotta call it how it is. We got brothers, missing the Sabbath days, right? Not keeping it holy like they should. You got sisters not keeping the Sabbath day, right? Keeping it holy like they should. It's getting to a point where every man is doing what they see right in their own eyes, man. I like this precept though, man. It's definitely what used to be sweet is now bitter, and my point, case in point, right? A man and a woman together used to be sweet, right? And teaching that in the school systems used to be sweet, right? Having a mom and a traditional dad, they used to be sweet. Now, if you teach that, it's bitter. You know what I'm saying? Now, I remember back when we was in school, it was bitter, you know, when homosexuality was brought up. It was a bad thing. And now it's a sweet thing. Pun intended. It's a sweet thing, right? Con, mighty precept. Go to the next precept for the sister. Proverbs 15:3. Let's see. The book of Proverbs, chapter 15 and verse 3. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. Khan, this is a mighty precept to go along with the brother's precept in Sirach, right? That precept in Sirach that was saying that his eyes are 10 times brighter, you know what I'm saying, than the sun, right? And it says, this is a good one, man. And I've read this before, but you know, this is another one I got a bookmark too. The eyes of the Lord are in every place. You can't hide from them, beholding the evil and the good. One thing that the brother brought up, man, he brought up that book of Sirach. And I thought it was funny, man, when the man was stepping out on wedlock. I thought it was funny because you got to reading and he was like, man, can't nobody see me. One of the last things he said was he said something um and I know it wasn't technically talking about this in context, but it says something like um the Lord won't remember my sins. And as soon as he said that, man, I was like, man, it sounds like a Christian right now. Because Christians always like to sin and do whatever and say, hey, look, I'm all good. I'm covered by the blood. The Lord won't remember my sins. I can do this right now and repent tonight. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we got to get away from that. So for sure. There's a mighty precept that the sister brought out. Proverbs 15:3. Definitely one to bookmark.
Kane, did you bring it up on the screen?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah, man. Let me fact. You brought out Isaiah 5:22.
Yeah.
Con, I want to go back to Proverbs 15:3. It's lucky, man. I had to go get a charger because I'm using my computer for the presentation, but I'm using my phone for the sound because for some reason my sound ain't working on my laptop. Right? But I know the brother just went over this, but I want to go over it again because again, it goes right like what the brother just said, Sirach 23:19. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. Right? And I want to say that, I want to bring that up again because we're talking about imperfections. Remember, the law pointing out our imperfections is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing like for somebody to confront you and tell you that you got a problem that you need to fix, right? If I had a booger hanging out my nose right now and y'all watching and Brother Denal's on the camera and it's sitting here hanging and nobody says anything, that's a problem because I'm looking foolish on the screen in front of people and nobody's correcting me. And I tell brothers that all the time, man. I say, bro, look, if I'm ever around y'all and I'm musty, or if I'm ever around y'all, like my breath stink, or if I'm ever around y'all, I got boogers, or I look like if something's off, tell me please. And I ask that in all sincerity because I would be more offended by walking around in my armpit smelling all stank and whatnot, versus brother saying, hey, not to be rude, bro, but did you put on deodorant today? If you did, I recommend that you change your brand or you go put on some more because you got a foul smell. Especially when we know we gonna be around a lot of people. Like that's one of the things. Like people always talk about having a real friend, somebody who will correct you when you're going off, somebody who will help you, right? Somebody who will put you in your place when you need it. A real friend. That's a real friend. But nobody wants that law to be their real friend. Everybody wants to sing the song, I am a friend of God. You know what I'm saying? But the Most High gave you a friend, the law. And for some reason, nobody wants to be friends with it because it's just like, that's the friend that's always telling you, hey, you tripping. Everybody want to be the friend. Everybody want to be the friend and say, I need some real friends around me. I want real around me. I don't need no fake. The real gonna tell you, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. Just like we got what's his name? Steven Jackson used to play in the NBA, man, and he was in Chicago in O Block. He recorded a young brother throwing up the set and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And saying, hey, look, and if you a real one, you don't mind checking in. I'm like, Steven Jackson, I don't even know how old you is. Like, I know he's like 50. If not, he's up there in that area. But if he's not 50 plus, he's in that area. But shalom, family. Shalom. But Steven Jackson is up there in that age, man. And you know what, bro? When I was looking at that video, I was like, bro, our elders are lost as heck. Because why are you sitting up here saying if you a real one, you don't mind checking in? What you got to check into a city for? What are you checking into a city that you don't even own for? That the people who you checking in with don't even own? Our people have a sense of pride over stuff that we don't have ourselves. We have access to the word of the Most High. We have access to that. We don't have access to the federal government to tell them, hey, we own O Block. Because guess what the federal government did when they said, all right, we want to make some change? They shut it down. The same thing they did in Augusta with this community. It's called Sunset. Well, it used to be called Sunset, right? Cherry Tree Crossing, right across the street from Josie High School. Hey, Augusta, what they do after a period of time? Shut it down. People saying, oh, this is my hood. This is my hood. But guess what? If it was your hood, why is it in this position now?
I just saw a brother. He's an Israelite. He in the truth, man. He on Instagram. And his subdivision got bought, and so his HOA pretty much kicked everybody out their houses. And it's crazy because he said he paid like $200 some odd $1,000 for his house, and the HOA only gave him $4,000 for his house, and he had to move no matter what. You know what I'm saying? So he had to live homeless for a while. You know, he was just coming on to give his testimony that he finally got a new house, a new job, a new truck. And so all praises, you know, we know that's through the spirit and power of the Most High God, man. But, you know, like the brother's saying, man, they do what they want to do.
Right. Hey, look, like the brother just said, Barzayah Judah, right? He said, we don't own anything to be able to even claim that we own anything, right? Like we got brothers and sisters that are affiliated with certain like neighborhoods and colors. And like I said, even myself, I was on that trend for a long period of time too. But something in me, man, I want better for our people. I want to actually own this stuff. It's a difference. Brothers do that because it's cool, it's popular, it's hip, you know, it makes you fit in. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to fit in. I want our people to actually be owners, lenders, and not borrowers, like the promises that the Most High God said that we would be. Deuteronomy 28:1 and on down to verse 14. We will be lenders and not borrowers. We will be the head and not the tail. But for some reason, man, like we said, we always refer back to the curses. We broke the law. We got under these curses, and now we the tail. And we have to serve our enemy in hunger and thirst and nakedness and in one of all things. That includes a place to stay. That includes Section 8 housing in the neighborhoods that we claim that we own. When we getting it at a discounted price from the government. Come on. Like, we have to at some point start being real. We got to start being real with ourselves, man. The laws of God is here to make us better people. People always hate stuff that want to make them change. Like, I'm a big brother. I hate doing stuff inside of the gym, but at the end of the day, I got to remember that it's going to help me get to the point I want to be at. The brother Denal can confess to it, man. I'll be in the gym, and like I always tell the story, man, it's always the last set, and then when I'm dog tired and I'm taking a little bit longer to complete my set, when we be doing the complex barbell workouts, Brother Denal always, come on, man, push through it, man. You can do it, man. And you know, in my head, I'm just like, bro, be quiet, leave me alone. But you need that.
That's why the brother stopped inviting me to the gym.
Oh my gosh, that is not the truth. Do not listen to this man. That is not the truth. But nah, for real though, man, I used to be like, man, leave me alone. But you know what? You need that. because that pain that you're going through, that's going to help you become a better person. Just like when we box too. When we box, we always coaching each other up about this strike and how to throw this strike and how to throw this punch and how your feet have to be and where the power is coming from. We always having these type of conversations. All of these conversations are fruitful to understanding that they're
We can't hear you, brother. Brother, your mic went out.
so like it. Can you hear me now?
Con.
Okay, yeah, Con. Somebody had FaceTime me, but Con, all these things help you become better at whatever it is that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? All these things help you become better because why would I want to stay in a stagnant situation? And it's like be honest, man. Well, honestly, if I knew that keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments at the end of the day didn't mean anything in the afterlife, I promise to you, I probably wouldn't be doing it. I probably wouldn't be keeping the Sabbath day because I believe the Sabbath day is Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Some brothers believe, you know what I'm saying, it goes by the moon. You know, hey, long as brothers keeping the Sabbath, that's all that matters. But see, I keep the Sabbath day on what we know as Saturday, right? And when I do that, and sometimes old me think back to like, man, I remember when, you know what I'm saying, on this day, I used to go to the mall, I used to have a football game. Some of the stuff that I would like to do with my sons that I did back on the Sabbath day when I was young, I can't do because I want to keep the law, because I believe that it'll have a reward, you know what I'm saying, in the afterlife. But man, if I knew that it wasn't fruitful for anything, I probably wouldn't do it. Just being honest with you, I probably wouldn't do it. I can't speak for everybody, but I can speak for me. I probably wouldn't do it if I honestly knew that the Most High God that we serve wasn't the Most High God, and I was just believing something false. But I believe in my heart, and I know and convicted by it that the Most High God that we serve is the God above all gods, like it mentions in Psalms chapter 96 and verse 4. And we know these things through prophecies. We know these things when things come to pass that was prophesied by the Most High God whom we serve. That's how we make our faith sure in that the walk that we on is the right walk to be on. Because I'm not saying everything that's the most hated is what the truth is. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people hate a lot of things in life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go by that. But what I will say is that when you come look at the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God, for some reason it's just like whenever you mention that you want to keep the law, people have a problem with it. And we gotta be able to be honest with ourselves about this stuff, man. We gotta remember that at the end of the day, man, pointing out your imperfections is meant to be a good thing. It's meant to help you, right? Let me go to another precept real quick. Just like it says, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil. One thing in film session, my coach always said is the eye in the sky don't lie. The eye in the sky don't even lie, right? He said my audio is choppy. Come on, my audio choppy. How I sound now? Do I still sound chopped up or I'm clean?
It sounds chopped up, but you can still hear what you're saying, though.
I just sound a little choppy.
A little staticky.
All right, Salaki, hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. I think I know what the problem is.
Oh, heck no, boy. That sounds terrible. Sound like you in the Matrix. Oh, heck no. Can you hear me? Please, go back to the other one. Well, it sounded like if Helen Keller was in the Matrix. If you don't know who Helen Keller is, man, she was blind and deaf. We can't hear you, Uck.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
All right, Con. There were brothers in the comments talking about, so nah, that ain't. Hey, man. Like the brother said, man. Hey, just Satan just trying to divert the message, right? But it's all good. I just got to get this audio situation under control. But Con, man, I wanted to bring out this other precept real quick in the book of Sirach, chapter 19. But what I was saying before I went out was, the eye in the sky don't lie. That's what my coaches always said when we used to practice and they used to have a game film and we'd be lazy. Like we'll take plays off, be lazy, miss a blocking assignment, miss a tackle, fumble the football. Everything that we did in practice was seen by that film. So they used to have this saying like the eye in the sky don't lie. Just like the same way the sister brought out that precept in Proverbs 15:3. The Lord sees all, beholding all the ways, evil and good, right? This is Sirach 19:19, though, right? It says, the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, and they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality, right? So if we know that the knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life, then why is it that we have people that preach like the law is sin? When Paul himself in Romans 7:7 said, is the law sin? God forbid. Right? When you go to Romans 7:1, it says the law had dominion over a man as long as he lives. So that means that it doesn't matter what you do in this life, the laws of the Most High God are always going to have dominion over you. Right? Everything that the Most High God set up in his word is going to have dominion over you. There ain't no way you can get around it. The law is supposed to tell you that, hey, you're a whoremonger. Stop being a whoremonger. The law is supposed to tell you you're a harlot. Stop being a harlot. The law is supposed to tell you, hey, look, you're a sinner. Stop sinning, right? Because we got a doctrine that, like the brother said, people like to bring out, oh, the Most High hates the sin. He hates the sin, but he loves the sinner. Well, let's read this. Ecclesiastes 12:6. It says, for the Most High hated. He hates sinners and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly and keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. The Lord hated sinners, man. We're not supposed to sit up here. We're not supposed to sit up here and act like, oh, the Most High God hates the sin, not the sinner. God hates sinners. Well, we just read that in Sirach 12:6, right? Let me see. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see that if there was a that precept. Well, maybe it's 15. I'm sure maybe it's 15. 15 to 13. 15, 13. I had another precept for that. Right. Right here. It says that, listen, the Lord hated all abomination, and they that fear God love it not. This is Sirach 15 and 13, man. So I wanted to bring that out, just the sort of simple fact of saying the same thing that we just read, man. The Most High hated sinners, and again in Sirach 15:13, he hated all abomination, right? And look, verse 17 says, before a man is life and death, and whether him like it shall be given to him, right? He says the same thing in, let's go to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30 and verse 19. And I think I'm going to end it there after I read Deuteronomy 26 and 25. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. Right? What does it say right here? It says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, like we just read in Sirach, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, right? The Most High gave us an option to choose life and death. Why would we want to follow a doctrine that tells us that keeping the laws of God is death? Why would you want to follow something like that? Because guess what the Most High God said in the same law? In the same law, the Most High God said, these laws, statutes, and commandments, I'm going to start at verse verse 23. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at verse 24. It says, "In the Lord," this Deuteronomy 6 and 24, "and the Lord God commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is this day." Salakia, as it is at this day. Verse 25 says, "And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our God, as he hath commanded us." So it's our righteousness to follow the commandments of the Lord. Why would I want to follow anything else that says it's death? It's righteous to want to get better. It's righteous to have something to point out that you may look like doo-doo, because therefore now you have an opportunity to see where you can correct some mistakes. People hate looking at themselves in extra focus. I don't mind calling myself ugly. If somebody call me ugly, that's cool. I'm gonna say, well, what makes me ugly? They'll say, well, brother, you have a big stomach. Okay, well, at least now I know that, hey, I can go tighten up my stomach. I can go do some tilt, tuck, and tighten, you know what I'm saying, by Sean T, and get my abs right. You know what I'm saying? That's just, and that's not just for the sake of people's opinion. The book of Sirach 30:15 says, hey, good health and good state of body is above fine gold. You know what I'm saying? But we know that, again, the law is spiritual. So when you go to 1 Timothy 4:8, what does it say? It says, for bodily exercise profiteth little. It doesn't matter how much I go tilt, tuck, and tighten if I'm not keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. My spiritual imperfections mean more than my physical imperfections. And we have to start understanding that in order to become the nation of people that the Most High God said we should be, right? And there ain't no way around that. But I'm gonna just go ahead and end it right here, because I believe the point's already been made. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say the water to everybody who's tuned in, to the brother Danal, to the brother Bazayah Judah, you know, to the sister Seraphine, to the brother Aviel, the water for tuning in, for everybody. Brother Danal, did you have anything you wanted to add on before we wrap this thing on up?
Oh man, mighty lesson. I think it was very needed, very edifying. I want to say Salaki, I had my camera off there, man. My stomach got the best of me. I didn't want to be eating on the live, so but
Khan, you all right, man? You was all right. I want to end with this, bruh. Hey, look. Matter of fact, I lied. I want to end with something else, but I'm gonna read this. It says, "And if remember, the law is supposed to be our righteousness according to Deuteronomy 6 and 25. And it says, and if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear?" That means those who do the law of the Most High will scarcely be saved. That also means that you're not saved yet, and we can verify that in Matthew 24 and 13. But if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? If you don't let this law point out your imperfections, buddy, you have a bad thing coming to you, right? You have something bad coming to you. If you think that the law is sin, if you think that you shouldn't be keeping the law of God because you're perfect through Jesus Christ, you have a bad thing coming to you. Because guess what? It says, Revelation 22 and 14, "Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life." Why is the law being mentioned with the tree of life again? "And may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie." Right? So if you love and make a lie, hey, look, that means that you don't do the commandments of the Lord. That means that you're not righteous. That means that where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? That's what I'm going to pose that question as. Right? But like we said, man, hey, we give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High God, this brother Yeshaya, from the Hopeful Elect, coming at you with a Think About It Thursday. And we want to say, man, shalom to the brother too, man. Hey, the water for your labor as well, Akim. But we want to say the water, man. We'll probably be back on here on the Sabbath for another lesson. So stay tuned. But shalom.
Shalom.